What's up, everybody? What's up, Michael? How you doing, man?
Coming to you live from the Dark Side Brick Oven Pizza Company, buddy.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
Everything's working smooth.
you can't have Back to the Future Day without a life-size DeLorean in there.
Man, isn't that the truth? And hello, everybody. Good evening. But
That was my
you,
bad.
you just love that. I was just going to say, Gabe, so we were talking
Yeah,
midweek, and you were like, hey, Saturday, so many things have happened Back to the Future today. It's crazy. And I didn't even know midweek that it was going to be Back to the Future Day, not just on Collection Wars, but in general. It's
yeah,
Back to the Future Day.
yeah. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I honestly, I knew about it because they have, like they show the movie at random movie theaters,
Yep.
and I had seen the advertisement, but like I feel like there's multiple every year, and then like the
Mhm.
dates are always wrong. I don't know. I just didn't really put two and two together. And then yeah, and then I saw that it's technically officially Back to the Future Day. And it's also Carrie Fisher's birthday.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, both.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
That's
Yeah,
really cool to know. That's good.
yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Carrie.
I know, right?
So
Um, but
your
yeah.
background looks badass, brother. I like it.
Oh man, look at yours. I got a little prop up. Look at yours, dude.
Oh
Dang.
man.
Did you
We,
bring it? You brought in the Doc Brown too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
today, yeah, Doc's downstairs. We just brought him here for the first time. We're filling up his tool belt and stuff. So he's going to be sitting next to Marty up here on top of the bar.
Yeah.
This angle, I'm on the top. I'm on a balcony where my office is, looking over the restaurant.
Mhm.
Kind of give you guys an idea. Kind of when we are live, you know how we'll be screaming live like this. This
Yeah.
is how it'll be. You know, there's the VIP over in the other area. You can see the arcade games down there in that corner, and then of course, you know, your dining and your bar. But
Yeah.
um, I don't know where I was going with that. What was I saying? Oh, but anyway, so he's going to be sitting on the top. But if you're down and when you walk into the main entrance,
Mhm.
Marty's a lot closer to the DeLorean. It's just this angle makes it look like it's off a little bit, but
Yeah, further up.
it's actually, yeah. And he's got his accurate skateboard right there. He's looking good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I know we jumped on a little bit earlier when I was in the car, and Michael, I was showing my wife. I was like, "Oh, look at Michael, Michael's background," and she's like, "Oh, that's cool. What is that? Six scale?" Because she like from the perspective, right? I'm like, "No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
life size." She's like, "Wait,
Hmm.
what? How's that life size?" I'm like, "Michael's just a lot closer than that car." And she's like,
That's
"Oh."
hilarious.
And then remember, she's like, "Oh, and what are they gonna sell at this restaurant? Barbecue?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "What
barbecue.
is going where
You
have you
know,
been the last year and a half, 2 years?" Like, what
just
the
kind of profiling, you know, Texas barbecue. You know what I
yeah,
mean? What's
that was
up with that, man?
a little offensive, yeah, you know? It's
It's
like
so cool to be hanging out with you, Gabe, and everybody in the chat tonight. It's good to see everybody.
yeah, no, absolutely, and happy Back to the Future Day. Uh,
Yeah.
Michael, remember just really quick, it might be better just to take off the
Okay.
headphones. You can
Let's see how it is. Hang on.
hear some clicking weird. I think you muted it, but other than that, you're good.
How are you at?
There you go. There you go.
Is it good?
You're a little bit further back, but there's just a lot of clicking. But you're good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's real sensitive. So hang on one second. Let
there
me
you
turn
go.
it up.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
All right. A
Perfect.
little better.
A little better. Yep. All
Cool.
right. Let's say what's up to our friends that are joining
Please.
us today. We got Johnny. What's up, Johnny? How are you?
First one in the chat. Thank you, Johnny.
We got Armando. What's up, Armando? Janine. What's up, Janine? How are you? Steven and Carla. What's up? Scotty. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
Hey, Scotty. Hey, Janine.
Jeff. What's up, Jeff? How are you? Chris. What's up?
Hey, Chris.
Good evening. Other Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, buddy.
Evan. What's up, Evan? How you doing, brother?
Thanks for the shout out, Evan.
Got Sean. What's up, Sean? How are you? Justin. What's up, Justin? Jumpin' General.
Hey,
What's up,
man.
man? Got Joel. What's up, Joel? How you doing, brother?
It was good talking to you the other day, Joel.
Mandalore Express. What's up, guys? Thank you for having us on your show this week. That was really
Yeah,
fun.
that was a good time. I'm glad I was able to make it.
Yeah,
Barely.
yeah, yeah. Appreciate that. Arcade games. Heck yeah, there's arcade games.
Man, there's something about those things. I'm feeling it.
I
Definitely
know,
feeling it.
right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeff's right. Yeah, there's gonna be barbecue.
Exactly. So,
So
so
not that
she was kind of right a little bit, you know.
not that far off.
Yes.
But very cool. Well, yeah, I mean, today we figured we just kind of stick to Back to the Future and talk about Back to the Future and because honestly, I mean, besides Star Wars, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably my second favorite franchise.
Ooh, I like how you did that. You didn't say which one, you know.
I franchise,
Okay. All right.
you know, yeah.
Gotcha.
Star Geeks, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta we got to treat them all equally today. Although we all know what's up. I mean, we all.
Absolutely. Part one. Hey, and I know we're going to get into a lot of conversation about Back to the Future, and guys and gals, if you got a question or you a story or something in regards to Back to the Future, please chime in. And I want to do a shout out to my friend Lee Richter. It's my brother out there. I hope you're watching. Um, so today, Back to the Future Day,
Yep.
this was like a random deal. I was talking to our friend General Kenobi last night, and man, I was able to meet in person today. Today, Claudia Wells, Marty McFly's girlfriend,
Yeah. Let me bring
in
that
part
up.
one, the original girlfriend.
Yeah, which is again such a crazy coincidence because like
You
we
know,
just
it's so weird.
happen to be there. Let me bring it up.
I'm
There.
sure there's a lot of people that have had the opportunity to meet this lovely woman. She has a life force that glows. She just glows, and she sees Denise and like, oh, you're so beautiful, and she's just so great. And if you guys notice her pants, of course, this was a girl thing. Denise noticed her pants that she's wearing. They were real similar to the ones that she wore in the original movie.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I didn't even notice that till and I'm like, oh yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah, and then her shirt too. Remember that line? It's like, "How about a ride, Mister?"
Yes, isn't that cool?
It's super cool. Yeah.
But you know what? She was so classy, and something that was very, very exciting is she had already heard about the dark side. When of course, I got to talk to her about that, and she was,
Yeah.
very excited about what we are doing and, keeping that 80s nostalgia alive, and,
Yeah.
it's just really, really cool experience meeting her. She's beautiful, beautiful then and beautiful now. So
Yeah. That's so cool that you got to meet her on Back to the Future Day.
that's really weird, right? So.
Right?
Yeah, so who
Meeting.
knows? Maybe we need to get her over here to Dark Side. So
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
yes, yes,
You gotta make that happen there.
yeah. It did make Huey Lewis's career. It sure did.
Really? He wasn't like they weren't big? They were,
He was, but not like after that song came out. Then
yeah, The Power of Love. That one was probably
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's going to be our theme. That's going to be. I want to be the Dark Side theme song. Is the not the Power of Love, but what is the other one? That golly, everybody, y'all know which one I'm talking about that he sings.
Which one?
Back in Time. Got to
Oh,
go back in time.
yeah.
That's badass. So that's gonna be all over my web page. So
Nice.
seeing it all happening here. It's crazy though that I was so excited when you were saying, and we could pull out a couple of the, our Back to the Future things, and I'm like, dude, I'll go because I just got the internet hooked up here, so
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm with Gabe. Back to the Future is probably my second favorite franchise after Star Wars, right below Goonies and E.T.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think all of us in the chat kind of love that like nostalgia
Yeah.
of those particular movies from the 80s, right?
Yeah. Now, do you remember watching what do you have a vivid memory of going to watching part one in the theater?
I'm not gonna lie. The only thing that I remember more than anything is I think when it first came out, I want to say that I was either 14. I'm not real sure how old I was, or 15, but it's kind of funny because I made a career out of it. But I was just, all I cared about was that pickup truck, that Toyota pickup
Mhm.
that was in the movie, and I loved that thing. And then at the end of the movie, when he gets that truck, I
Yeah.
wanted it so bad. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting that same year pickup truck. That was my first vehicle, was that Toyota pickup truck, and
Was it that same one?
same one. Yep. It was gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually, with the roll bar, and what I wanted to do, I thought about restoring, an old, 84 Toyota extended
Yeah.
cab pickup, but I thought about getting a brand new one and doing it themed, black, with that old roll bar in it, with the old traditional KC lights, kind of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool. But what about you? Do you have a memory?
So I part one, I only remember watching it on like Betamax and then VHS, right? And I specifically remember because yeah, I don't remember watching in the movies. I may have, but I mean, I might have been too little. But what I do remember is always watching the end, and it would say to be continued, and it was like, when are they gonna make the next one? When are they gonna make the next one? And I remember I think it was our first year, right? I think it was like, when did the second one come out? Like 88, 89, something like that, or right? I think it might have been 89.
Gabe, you're
I
asking me.
have to double check, but I remember it was like late '80s, and it was like kind of our family's kind of, or at least my first year, like in the United States, and like kind of starting to get used to the change, right? And I
Yeah,
remember that the movie came out, and that was one of the first movies that I got to see in the movie theaters here in the United States, was part two. So
yeah,
again, I think that's what maybe that's also another reason why I'm so kind of attached to part two, right?
yeah.
And
Gotcha.
but yeah, no, and I part two, I do remember seeing it in the movies. Part three, I remember going to the movie theaters to see it. And yeah, man. I mean, as soon as I saw part two, I was just like, oh my god, the hoverboards, like that for me, that was a big, right, like a big thing as a kid, right?
Do you
Yeah.
remember being a little confused when it showed his girlfriend and it wasn't the original Claudia? You don't remember?
No, I think I was too. I mean, I was too little to like even realize it was a different girl. Like I think later down the line, I was just like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that
You
because you
know,
really only see her. You only see her a little bit, right, in the beginning,
and
and
then
a
the end.
little bit at the end. So
Yeah. 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 I remember, and I wanted to talk to her about some of the experiences, like what she had when she first, um, you know, got the part first off.
yeah.
And then, when the movie came out, the success of the movie and what it may have started for her, the excitement. But then when everything went down in part two, did you ever hear about the details of what happened to that with that?
With her, no,
Yes.
no.
So real quick, since, we were talking about
Yeah.
Claudia earlier, so her mom was pretty much like her agent, was
Mm.
taking care of this. And when it came out, there was actually a few of them out there. A lot of people know how difficult, what's his name, that played the role of the dad, that he was very difficult on set. And,
Yeah,
and then he was demanding quite a bit more money in part two. And Bob Gale and the executive producers of the show were like, no, we're not doing that, So
mm,
they pretty much wrote him out, and it was pretty shitty.
yeah,
But I would have probably done the same thing. But man, it just made things so difficult. I understand about the money part of things, but in her case, in Claudia's case, and the reason I'm even bringing this up, because a lot of people may know already, but those that don't, I've heard the story even with her talking about it. But her mom just couldn't agree on the price for her. She was demanding more money, and they elected to find a different actor, which was Elizabeth Shue. Everybody knows from Karate Kid, and she was fantastic,
yeah.
beautiful. But it just sucks because you just think of a young girl like Claudia and you know how success and then knowing they're going to be doing a part two and I'm going to be in part two and I wonder what role I'm going to be playing in that one. And then your mom, respectfully, because I don't know the exact details, but your mom getting in there and negotiating and doing all this stuff. And I can imagine the back and forth. Well, I just talked to him and so we're waiting on a phone call from the agency and just knowing that you
Yeah,
they're casting someone else. Can you imagine how Claudia must have really felt? You know,
yeah,
so I know that it was a real tough thing for her. You know, but what I love about it, like the Star Wars community, a lot of the cast from Back to the Future
yeah,
know they all know that it wasn't Claudia's decision. You know,
mm,
obviously, you know, so she's today loved. There's a huge line of people
yeah,
to see her, and she deserves that respect.
yeah. No, absolutely.
So,
That's very cool. Yeah,
yeah.
have you met any? Who else have you met? I know you've seen you saw Michael J. Fox. I remember at a convention, right? Did
Actually, it wasn't me. That was Joseph. So I had planned on going and seeing Michael J.
Detroit?
Fox, but I
Okay.
never got the opportunity to see him in
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
I
Because
regret it. But,
he got the autograph. Remember, Joseph?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but everybody stay tuned because when we have our grand opening, you might see quite a few people
Nice.
here. You know, but we're not
Yeah,
saying anything till it's done. I'm not one of
yeah.
those.
The only
Uh,
person that I've met is, and I'll bring that up, is Bob Gale.
oh yeah, that's very cool though. That's
Yeah,
huge. That's really cool.
yeah. And they
Man,
had,
look at you there.
I know, God, young and fit. um, I this was actually at the EFX booth
Oh,
at Comic
nice.
Con. Yeah, because EFX had the license for Back to the Future for a little bit.
Gotcha. Did they ever come out with anything in the franchise?
They ended up not coming out with anything. They were gonna do the map, like the schematics, which I have one of the original production copies of the schematics from part three. Remember the
Yeah.
one where he unfolds in the cave?
Yeah.
Um, I just that one was too big to bring down. I couldn't bring it down, but yeah, they were gonna make that into a signature edition, and it was gonna have Christopher Lloyd's signature. But yeah, that didn't end up going through. Um, and what else were they going to make? They're going to make the time circuits, and they had like these little bookends, like the tiger, or what is it, the
Yeah,
lions,
the monument thing up on the court.
or no, I guess they're panthers. I don't know, the ones that on the clock tower, not even
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Hill Valley ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's another thing. So when back here, when we built this, um, Lee uh, Lee Batten, he sent a picture once, and that was my inspiration to build this thing. And what a ride it was, getting all the detail. We've talked about it in the past, but
What?
what I was going to tell you is, you know, so this is real. I wanted it to be like the courthouse. So that's not fake faux brick. That's real brick right there. And we built these heavy duty. The thing's heavy, and we plan on we're going to have a smoke machine hooked up to it. It's already ran, and it'll have smoke coming out of it like every 20, 30 minutes. But the reason I brought it up is that clock tower. What the plan was is to have him crashed in the clock tower, but the accurate size of the clock tower is smaller than the width of the DeLorean.
Yeah.
But I was still going to make it go around it, and then I thought it might look cool, but it is just too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I didn't want it to take away from all of the details in the car. You know,
Yeah.
because those are all very accurate parts on this car. If anybody who's been around and knows the actual DeLorean that gets here, because I've had the actual car in the shop when we were building this thing, so seeing the comparing all the parts and stuff is really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I just Back to the Future is it's crazy. Yeah, I was talking to Denise about it today that just the following if Eric Stoltz would have maintained Marty, if what do you guys think in the chat? Do you think that Back to the Future would have been the same? What do you think, Eben? I don't know. I just don't. Hey, Flex, how you doing, buddy? But I don't know if Eric Stoltz, that was the original Michael J, or Marty.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they could. I don't think anybody could have done the job. To tell you the
Yeah,
truth, you know what I mean?
100%.
But
Yeah.
um yeah, no, I don't think so. I think you can't compare with Michael J. Fox, man. I mean, just even the way, right? Because and I think it's part of the documentary, right? That they were saying that he was, I guess he was a little too serious of an actor,
Yeah. Because he's a
right?
fantastic actor.
And then Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox had more of a comedic,
Charisma.
yeah,
Yeah.
which it
Yeah.
need like this movie needed that. Like you can't make it too serious because it kind of takes away from it is a it's a lighter movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So Mandalore asks, which Jennifer do you prefer? Marty's girlfriend, and is your favorite, the first or the second? Gabe, do you have a preference? Be real.
I mean, that's tough. Yeah.
It is tough.
She
That's
was a
tough.
little the Elizabeth Shue was a little annoying in the second one. Um, to me, I don't know. You know what
I'm
I mean?
really
Like,
surprised that you're saying that, though. That's
well, I don't know if it was the writing in it or like the way they made her like when they're in the future, right? Where she's
yeah,
like, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan, so I'd actually say part one.
yeah, yeah. That girl's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sucks to know where she could have gone.
Yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
so for me, Mandalore Express, I'm gonna have to say number one.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know about everybody else in the chat, but I want to be honest. So, like in Cocktail, I mean, Elizabeth Shue, and even in Karate Kid, I mean,
Oh
she's
yeah.
cute.
Oh yeah, and Karate Kid. I mean that was like to me growing up watching Karate Kid Part 1, like that was for me like the ideal date in my life,
Yes.
right?
Oh my
Like whole
gosh.
going to the arcade and going to the like little amusement park and it was just I don't know, something about that scene.
I think we might have talked about this. So we're waiting for Karate Kid Day, but I will just say that you always think of Johnny as the bully, but
Yeah.
I think it was actually opposite.
And
I don't think. I mean, that was his girlfriend. You know what I mean? And
that was his girlfriend,
he
yeah.
punched, he punched him first. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
and then he kept things going.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
babysitting. That's great.
She was an adventure in babysitting.
Yeah, she was. I don't remember. I forgot about that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
She was great in The Boys. Was she in The Boys? Is that her? Is that
I think.
Elizabeth Shue? Who's that? One of the is it the Wonder Woman looking superhero girl? I didn't even realize that.
What about she was in that movie with Kevin Bacon. What is it? Not the Invisible Man, but what was the name of that movie? He's
Yeah, I
invisible.
think it was Invisible Man, right? Wasn't it
What
like
it's
the
called?
yeah.
It showed some pretty sexy little like panty shot scenes with her on there, but not that I get. I'm just saying.
She's the boss from The Boys? Huh. I have to go back and watch. I don't remember. Um oh, Hollow Man. That's it.
Hollow Man.
That's what it was.
Hollow Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, she was the boss provider. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. I didn't even recognize her. I didn't even realize that. That's crazy. Um Ray Boss is just stumbling on this live stream. Well, welcome, welcome.
Yeah. Welcome. Good to see you, Ray. Thank you.
Yeah. Johnny Lawrence is go. Honestly, yeah, Michael, we talked about this, right? I know we're like supposed to be talking about Back to the Future, but
Yeah.
when we talk about, it's kind of they kind of go together, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All like teenage, hero movie. But yeah, watching Cobra Kai, I think that was like that's so silly because it it's so good, but it's so cheesy. But like
Oh, I love it. I
I
love
get
it.
hooked. Like I just recently started watching the last season because I kind of fell behind.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like stuck watching it. I'm like, this is such a cheesy, like almost like teen soap opera, but like it's freaking great.
Oh, and it's great, dude. Johnny and I was just like his thoughts and like that he's still stuck in the '80s. I love his how he is, man. He's just great.
Like Shane asked, if you were to pick a different girl for part two, who would it be?
Oh, that's tough.
I mean, they did a decent job in casting someone that was at least the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like if they would have went with someone more famous, like let's say like Brooke Shields or like someone
Oh,
around that age.
yeah, but I could see her soft, like, you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. So do you remember? Do you remember watching part 2 though in the theaters or no?
Meg Ryan, that's a good one, Joel. I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't stand that movie. I just didn't
The
like
part
it.
2?
I hated it.
Oh man.
You know, every once in a while, just because I was getting into the Back to the Future here at Dark
Yeah.
Side, you know, really getting into it,
Yeah.
I watched them. But I honestly, even though it's pretty bad, but I prefer part 3 versus part 2.
Really? See, I need some backup here because I think part two is the best out of the trilogy. But again,
Oh man, Jennifer Grey. She'd end up getting boned on screen if Jennifer Grey was on there. That poor girl, dude. That's every in all the movies she's on her back. You know what I mean?
uh,
But I'm being real, dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, Backdraft. I mean, I can name a.
Yeah,
Anyways, Fast Times. But she's a good, great actress. So.
yeah, it's fine.
So what do you mean you love the car? Do you love the flying version of the car? Is that what you mean? I'm not real sure. Or you just love the car in general, the DeLorean? Not sure.
Part 3 was man. Yeah, that I felt the same. But
That what?
that part 3 was like, eh.
Yeah.
Part 1 and 2 are great. Part 2, yeah, I get. Yeah, so Joel likes the
Like
flying
the flying
conversion.
car stuff.
I mean you gotta admit that's pretty damn cool. Like it
The
looks,
hoverboard.
yeah,
I just yeah. This is look. So like all that little stuff was cool, right? But
mhm.
these are the things that bother me about part 2, and all of you guys that are like, oh, part 2. You know, let me tell
Yeah.
y'all something.
All right,
Part
go.
2 was the writers were in a room scrambling because part 1 was so good that they had to hurry up and come out with a part 2, no matter if you were on board or not. Bob Gale did not want to do another one. He didn't.
Mm.
Did you know that?
I
The
didn't.
writer? Yeah,
Yeah,
he did not want to do it. So they were like, well, if you don't do it, we'll find somebody who will. So then he was like, well, shit. Okay, I'll do it.
yeah,
But I don't like the Biff in the big house and like the casino bullshit and her custom big boobs. That just all lost me, dude. It's real dark.
yeah.
I didn't like any of that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly, I after the future part, I also like my interest starts kind of
Yeah,
like
it
toning
sucks.
down. Yeah.
They
Um.
just can't. They just can't come up with so many things. I mean, like I say with Star Wars, Star Wars is a miracle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Star Wars was a miracle. Back to the Future. This is, you know what? This is something we need to talk about one night, and this is something that we all have a good time. Is no, listen. What movies do you call a miracle? And when you say that, is that how it was made, like how many great artists that were in it, and how many great people, whether they were the writers or the model makers, came into a movie and made it a miracle. And I would have to say that Back to the Future one was a miracle. And just because, what are the odds of being halfway through a shoot and
Yeah.
if they just weren't feeling it? Most people, I've directed feature films, okay, and I am not even in the same category as these big guys. But to be with the big guys with these budgets and be halfway through a movie and not just say, fuck it, let's just get this done and hope for the best. No, we're going to redo it. We're going to cast a new guy, Marty. We're going to get Michael J. Fox. That was a miracle deal. You know what I mean? There was a lot of shit going down, a lot of, ass kissing to make that happen, And then all of these great writing pieces that were put into that movie, which I think are like, I don't know, give me a tab. You're going to have to pay for it first, All right, then give me a Pepsi free. Look, man, if you want to drink, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Those and there were so many of those little skits in Back to the Future that just were classic, And they tried to redo that. I'm sorry, but they tried to redo that in part 2, and that's where you lost me. Like on Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. I'm going to make Steven mad. But the bottom line is like, that was another example of, look, we got to do this. And, and that's where I think it loses it. Jaws. Look at Jaws. I mean, that was a fantastic movie. And then they, it's just what happened.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good movies out there. But look, it's the nostalgia on a lot of them. Like Back to the Future 2 was you came in from Mexico, and that was kind of your new clique.
Yeah.
Right, Gabe? That was your clique.
Yeah.
And it brings back like Return of the Jedi. That was your clique.
Yeah.
The worst one out of all of them. But yet that's was your favorite one. And there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? So,
the worst one. Oh man.
I'm just being real, dude. But it's funny because I'm just now decorating, speeder bike and biker scout, and I want an Ewok bag.
Yeah,
I want a legit Ewok, and it just but y'all don't tell anybody, okay? Please just keep this between us.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And that's
I want a legit Wicket, and then Joel, if you're listening, I know you got the capabilities, man. So I just Regal Robot, Tom said he can do one, but I just, so
yeah.
I would love to pull that off. And then I thought about be cool on the speeder bike, having, just this would maybe be an easier commission, but just having a random, Ewok flying off the back of it.
Like,
remember?
Like
when he's like, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But,
oh, very cool.
See, Logan, I know. Look, we're not gonna get off on Star Wars from Back to the Future.
Yeah, we're supposed to stick to Back to the Future.
Yes. But Empire is an absolute fantastic movie. It was everything, the aspects, and my favorite character, like Gabe, is Yoda. But I still think Star Wars, the original one. But. There's too much romance in part 2. I didn't. It's like, go back to Dagobah. God dang, I want to see him. First off, I liked Carrie Fisher. I liked her, and I didn't appreciate, Han Solo. You know what I mean? And then it was his sister. You know what I mean? I thought Luke was gonna, and then we all found out what's up.
Yeah, but you don't know his sister until the next one, until Return of the Jedi.
It's a good thing they weren't banging. You know what I mean? Can you imagine?
You don't know.
I'm sorry. Hey, can you tomorrow take that off?
I know, right? But yeah.
Actually, there was some banging in the backstage. But anyway, we don't need to get into that. Hey, did you read the book?
The future. Michael, tell us for kind of some of the viewers that are just joining us, that haven't been through this whole process, with DeLorean and the restaurant and all that. So tell us more about that DeLorean. So what exactly did it take to kind of build that whole thing?
So I was inspired by a photograph that was in a Chicago bar. It was kind of the same concept, but it wasn't exactly Jimmy. It wasn't. It was a little bit different. So when I considered doing this, it's like, okay, how far do we want to go with it? And I did not know jack about the DeLorean details of the time travel car, the time machine. So my first deal was, I was like, where I'm going to do this. Me and Denise were talking about it. So I remembered that DeLorean was still in business and they were in Houston. So I took a drive to Houston, Texas, which was about a 3.5 hour drive. And they had an inventory of fenders. So I found out they had these. So there were some brand new fenders. So what my whole deal was is if I could find the back valance, which they call a bumper or valance, it's got all the parts to where you can put the headlights in. So it makes the back end a lot easier to work on, right?
Yeah.
So I started out with two brand new DeLorean fenders, used, because the parts are, as everybody might know, are very difficult to get. It was very difficult to find the original wheels, but what we basically did is we put together the exterior, and we started out. I bought my Hot Toys DeLorean from Gabe. I wanted to get it because he found out they were coming out with a part two DeLorean. So I'm like, dude, well, let me buy yours. So he sold it to me, and we actually used the Hot Toys DeLorean because it's very accurate to build the life size. And then I was able to meet up with a gentleman who's been very involved with the Back to the Future cars. He's one of the best in the business and was highly recommended from the DeLorean company. And he took on the job of, you know, commissioning all the aftermarket parts. And then I had a local guy, Brandon, that took on this, and he took it to the next step. That was actually his favorite all-time movie, and I never knew that was Back to the Future. And he's an incredible welder. So he built this thing. He went way overboard. And before I knew it, I would come over to the welding shop and I would see a brand new, when I say brand new, it was a life-size, very accurate DeLorean from Back to the Future. It was one of the most accurate cars to date, and it travels all over the United States. And I was like, wow, it's in Bernie and it's here in this shop. And Brandon is taking all these details. So everything, all the placements, all the little fittings, the hubcap that they used on the back, it's all very accurate, you know. And, you know, as you can see with the lighting, and I don't know if you can put me on big screen, Gabe.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can show you guys, but it's really hard. But so our friend Jens did the, you know, all the bricks. So we're going to still have a little bit of debris, and you can't see it from this angle, but we still have to do the black painting. So it gives it that shadow 3D depth that it's actually in the wall, which with the bricks and the black around there, it really does have that look. But the details are amazing. And it's pretty funny because we've collected so much dust on this car from all the construction that we've just kind of left it alone, you know. So
I'm trying to find here it is. I was looking for, you had sent me a picture. Let me bring that up really quick. Hold on. So people can get a little bit closer look at it.
And then the out of time license plate, that was just something that I purchased, but they offered a weathered up, beat up out of time. And I thought that would be perfect for the crashed DeLorean that just crashed into Darkside Brick Oven Pizza Company. I mean, isn't that just so badass? I'm just having that music playing through here and that nostalgia and seeing these props, you know, whether it's, you know, Back to the Future or Jaws or Star Wars or, you know, E.T. It's, you know, a really exciting thing, you know.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to open
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate that. And thank you, Joel. So
can't get it.
Yeah, just seeing some smoke. We're gonna test the smoke to make sure we don't, with the fire marshal and all, we don't actually, you know, kill it. You know, when it comes to people getting smoked out in here, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
it's like right underneath. That'd
be my luck. Everyone's eating their pizza, and then when the comes out, it's gonna be badass, man. I can't wait to do it.
It's just like vape. It's just like the Halloween stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just like the Halloween or what you see over at in the bands or whatever.
Here, let me here. I got the screenshot here, so you guys can.
And so, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that you can really see all the accurate, all the pieces that went into that thing.
Yeah, what's up, Matt?
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Diane, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, Diane.
Yeah, I mean, they did a fantastic job, dude, with the lighting and all that stuff. Yeah, the details on that.
Yeah, and all that was before all the wiring and stuff in the sides were done. But it's fantastic. And you know what's really cool is if you take the little Hot Toys, well, when I say little, the 6-scale Hot Toys DeLorean, which I actually have here. I'll show you guys in a little bit, but when you hold it next to that, it's exactly all the little. It was crazy how detailed Hot Toys went into the time machine parts for it. You know what I mean?
Look at Ray Boss also said, "I can't tell scale. Marty looks third scale. No, it's life size. Yeah,
Yeah, that's life size.
Marty's life size too.
Yep.
Michael, Joel, is it, how are you going to prevent smoke and or grease from damaging the props?
Well, that's another thing. I don't know, and that's a good one, Joel. I don't know yet. So we're gonna figure it out. What first off, how much comes out. I'm not gonna be doing it too often, depending on the smoke, because you can control the smoke that comes out of it.
Yeah.
But if it creates an issue, obviously, we'll just do it for like premier stuff, or just once in a great while. But yeah, I got to be very mindful about all that stuff. So, and if you want, I can take. I'll walk down there real quick. Let's take a little walk. So again, this is where we'll be streaming live. Gabe was asking earlier, so we're about 25 feet in the air here. So
Yeah.
and then here's a
Can you
little
go
better.
down there or no?
Huh? Yeah. I'm gonna go down there.
Here, let me blow you up real quick.
Okay. Well, if you want, this is all secret stuff here, so we'll go ahead and, you guys are my buddies. So this right here is the office. This is going to be my office / conference room, and we are working right now. That's 20 feet down. We've got that's your front entrance right there when you come in. But we're working right now on the speeder bike. We're creating on the bottom bases of that stuff. It's going to be banking. It's going to be really, really cool. You can't tell how massive that really is, and then coming down the hall here, we're doing all our statues and stuff to be here. Man, we're getting a tour. So we're in the prep kitchen right now. This is the kitchen here. It's a pretty good sized kitchen. We've got the oven. So, and remember we talked this last weekend about the Coke machine. We got the Coke machine in. It's temporary right there. And CET in the reflection. Looks like he's standing outside the window. So can I show very much? Oh, here we go. What's up, Doc? So here behind me is the DeLorean. And then we got. So there you go. So that helps you a little bit more on scale.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Let's just have fun tonight. Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
So we're working right now on the can't believe I'm showing you guys this, but yeah, so we're working on the tearing of the poster. That's all out of metal. So he'll be all the way around him. He'll be breaking through that. So those of you that haven't seen my Instagram post lately, say hello. He's just chilling out right here.
Oh, so cool.
What's up, dude? Just chilling at the dark side. Okay. So, but yeah, so we still have, let me show you guys what Jens and them did over here. So you see how we have the black in there? So you can see it gives it that 3D look. So we still, as you guys might have seen, we have to do the top. So, and back there is the Jabba room that Jens has been working on. This bar is going to be well lit with neon, and everybody remembers the Tron. And this is my all-time favorite picture, but we can't show that anyway. So we got room for one more, and here's the nostalgia room. I'm just going to briefly show you. Got to have one of those in here. So, and coming out in the back, here's the back area. I don't know how much our reception is. Are we good, Gabe?
Yeah, you're still good.
Okay. So here's going to be a back porch. We got TVs and everything back there. And
you got to show. Wait, you're not going to show it? What? Wow.
And then behind the bar, all the TVs are behind the bar. You can see the TVs there. And that will open up to the back patio. Look at that guy, man. He's just chilling. Is that awesome or what?
Yeah.
So we got lighting and stuff to do. This one's for Steven. There you go, Steven. All right. So coming outside here, we've got these tables and chairs. Unfortunately, aren't working out, so I've got a whole new set that's going to match all the grid and stuff in here. So, and everybody.
There it is.
Still pretty good reception.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting
Yeah.
a little choppy, but you're good.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, you can see the speed bike, so it's pretty far up high up there. But yeah, and then coming outside, this is the front entrance. This is that goes up to. We got a whole other section that you guys saw. But yeah, that's it. That's the kind of a sneak peek. And everybody, this is that's my mom.
Their mom.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
I want everybody to know that the whole reason that this place is in existence is because of that lady right there. So
yeah,
I love her. That's my mama. But yeah, so yeah, we've got speeder bike parts all over the ground here. So
that's funny.
but yeah, so this is going to be where you're walking. Where all your walk-in cooler and then your freezer back there, where all the beer kegs will be. And then we've got the lines ran right here where they'll go underground to the bar, and everything's going to be done right.
Nice.
So, yeah. So did you guys enjoy that?
There you go. Yeah, you got an exclusive first look.
Yeah, that was actually very first look. So, but right through here, I'm building more pedestals. That's going to be where the is it DMD? The guy the big Wampa.
Yeah.
It'll be right there. You can't tell how big that is. That thing is pretty far. So we'll have a total of 6 pedestals up here, and I'm going to put my legendary scale busts up there. So yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Well, Michael, we got a guest in the house.
Okay.
We got Marty McFly himself.
Oh, look at that.
Oh shoot. Is it wait. Am I overdressed?
Oh man, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Like you even got your
I don't
Pepsi?
know.
Man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh,
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very.
Hey, brother, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Michael. How are you?
Good, man. Doing really good. This is the first time streaming at Dark Side and hanging out with my buddies, and it's a
Dude,
good time. So.
I just caught the last maybe 3 minutes of this tour, but I'm gonna go back and watch this whole stream from the beginning because right behind you is probably the most amazing thing from Back to the Future in any collection or just a restaurant. That's gorgeous, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
Just gorgeous. And the part 1, which you have there, which is is my favorite. Even though I think part 2 is my favorite movie, the part 1 DeLorean is my favorite with all because of that back portion of it. So
yeah, exactly. And they say back part 1, but if you think about it too, at the end of part 1,
it's part 2. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So when I end up buying the second 6-scale one,
he's got the yeah.
You gotta get this.
Yeah.
You gotta
get the Fusion and got the. So
Yes.
I actually texted Gabe earlier that so my good friend. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I don't. It's funny because I don't have a Mr. Fusion because I would want to piece it together the right way. Which I think is that the replica.
It's the Diamond Select one.
Yeah, that's actually really good. It's really
and it opens up and it makes the noise.
Yeah.
It's like...
But so I texted Gabe prior to this because it was a last minute thing that I'm good friends with Jeffrey Weissman, who played George McFly in part 2 and 3. And so I FaceTimed him last minute of could you hop on with us? And he literally FaceTimed me in the middle of a production. He's doing Charlie Chaplin in some production somewhere. And he's like, man, I can't do it tonight, but anytime, like just let me know. We can hop on with him. And he played George McFly in part 2, in which changed the industry because they had lawsuits, which Gabe can attest to, that changed of how the likeness rights would happen all throughout the rest of history. So he'd be more than happy to hop on and like just talk about what happened between Crispin Glover being George McFly and like him being George McFly and like that whole transition. He'd be like he's like more than happy to hop on sometime.
Those are good stories. I love those stories. And Roy Boss, thank you for that comment. Appreciate that. But yeah, those are the behind the scenes things that are, to a franchise that was so incredible.
And what's crazy is that look at how kind of how it's so relevant. That same law, right, that changed like the artist rights and all that stuff is now again being challenged with AI.
With the Netflix. Yeah.
With AI and being able to use an actor's likeness, right?
Yeah.
Like forever. Yeah. And then I'm sure there's going to be a good lawsuit coming down the line about that, but
but I think that'd be a grandfather deal. I don't think they can come back on something like that. You know what I mean? But
that's the weird thing is like, I think Gabe can probably attest to this as an attorney, is that it's never set in stone with other things that are always just coming up. They can re-challenge things that were never, an issue 10 years ago, that they can maybe say, okay, yeah, your likeness rights to an extent, but then if it's AI or streaming services or anything that's going to re-up certain things, especially in that industry, it's always a combative issue,
Like, did you guys hear it? So like some of the big retailers, I mean, I think probably the only one left is Best Buy. They just announced that they're no longer going to carry physical media anymore.
Yeah.
So DVDs, Blu-ray, like just gone, done.
That's crazy. I mean, even though I don't collect physical media, I know a lot of friends who do. And you think about like, you can never own you can't just put in a DVD. You have to wait for the streaming service to do it. And if like
I hate that shit, man. I hate that. I bought one of those before and I'm like, how do I even use this damn thing?
Yeah. Well, it's like if you never if your internet's down or your power, I mean, like something happens, you can't watch what you want to watch.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah. No, that happened just recently because I wanted to actually play the Goonies for my kids, and I was like looking for it on all the streaming sites. Nobody had it. Like you had to buy it or pay for it. And I was like, I own it on DVD, on Blu-ray, but I'm like, we'd have to play it on the PlayStation. I was like, then I'd have to go look for it in some box. Like it became a hassle, but I'm like, that's the world we're living in now. It's just crazy. Like,
well, have you ever had this happen where you go to plug in your Blu-ray and it has to download an update?
No.
An update to play a disc?
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is kind of stupid, but it's weird that you'll never be able to, I mean, going forward, never be able to own the physical media. And I think it's going to get to a point where it'll revert back. Like you'll have another, Disney is like notorious for this, where they would put something in the vault, and then they re-release. I think this might happen to be the same thing where in say 3 years or 5 years, when the streaming services kind of collapse or they're not doing as well, they'll go back to doing physical media. I don't see it as a sustainable thing.
I mean, maybe for the nostalgia too, right? I mean, I think
And speaking of that, Gabe, sorry I cut you off. Down in that hallway where we have all the nostalgia, the old toys and the games and all that stuff, I've got a Blockbuster videotape in there. And today Denise was like, "Hey, why don't you get because we've got all the albums up. We're going to have like 40 or plus soundtrack albums on one wall, just soundtracks, the LPs." And she was like, "What about just maybe getting like a cassette and putting it in there too? Because people don't even know." I mean, nowadays, Haley, my daughter, would be like, "What's that?"
Yeah. Well, my kids are already like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my adult daughter, she's 20, and she was like, "Dad, how do I burn a CD? Like, how do I
CD,
burn
yeah.
a DVD?" And I was like, "Well, you just put it in the computer." She's like, "My computer doesn't even have a disk drive." I was like, "That's true." And I'm like, "You just ground from like Apple Music," and it's like, "No, you can't. That's just streaming."
Yeah.
So I had
Yeah.
to teach her how to like rip songs from
no,
YouTube.
no, you didn't,
I mean,
Gabe.
no, I didn't.
Attorney.
I
Yeah, no, yeah.
I
Hey,
told her how to listen to them on
Somebody else told
YouTube.
you your daughter how to do it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right, Joel. But to Marcel, I'm going to be honest with you. My mom, I remember as a kid, I'll never forget. She took me to a Mr. M's, and back then it was in the early '70s, and it was an 8-track. And for those that you don't know, it was a big version of a cassette that would go in there. And when you put it in there, and it had a little door that would just close down, and you just push it in and pull it out. Well, I had put my hand when she went into the store. I put my hand in there, and when I went to pull it back, that flap came up, and
It's stuck on the.
I just thought it was going to eat my hand up. And when she came in the car, I was freaking that she was going to beat my.
Man, I don't know. I don't even want to know what you did when you were 16.
Exactly. No, you don't. No, you don't. Those are after the show.
Yeah, after
But they're really cool, But anyway,
You know what I remember doing? Probably like maybe early middle school. I remember when we were like all like we'd have like sleepovers or whatever, and like friends are just like, and we're like telling like creepy stories or whatever. I remember breaking the tapes apart. Like we would record like off the radio or whatever. Like we had a tape, and we would like break the tape off and then loop the the tape kind of in this S form, and it would make it play backwards. So then it would,
really.
yeah, and you'd clip it back, you'd put it back
Holy
together.
crap.
You'd hear it backwards. So we'd be like, "There's satanic subliminal."
Yeah, well,
messages."
yeah,
That was a big thing, right? Like in the
that
70s
was
and
a big
80s,
thing.
like
yeah.
subliminal messages on the
I
record.
remember, like when you could cover the top of those tape marks, the little indentations on the top, like so you could re-record over what you already recorded, because if they were pushed in, like you couldn't. I mean,
take some
yeah,
paper and put it in your mouth and just.
well, and like obviously, like waiting for. I mean, so like, so I don't know. I heard a couple people on the radio calling into a radio station, and I was like, these people must be psychotic, because who calls into a radio station now? Like, why would you call into a radio station to get a song played versus being on Spotify or whatever you have?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be just like their own people internally, because like no one calls into a radio station. But we did back in the day,
Well, check out what I found. I was going through some boxes the other day, and look what I found.
Wow. Oh, dude, your membership card.
My membership card from Blockbuster. So this had to be
badass.
So when you get carded at a buying alcohol, do you just present that?
That's what I should. I should turn it around and be like, "Look, that's my
Don't
name."
lose that. I think that's a really great piece.
Oh yeah, no, I got it. And then remember this news? I think this was like kind of the first, like one of the first news weeks, because look at it's May 17th, 1999. So,
man, these guys are coming on. Shane, yes, I do have those at home, but not here. And Steven, that would be badass, right? But I don't have room for a phone booth. And nobody's going to even know what a phone booth is. Well, that's why we would have it, right?
With the Superman. I mean, that might be the answer to like cover up, because Michael, we've been talking that you've been having a hard time finding the mannequin for the Superman.
Big time.
That might be a good way to hide it.
Yeah, exactly.
You could actually kind of like incorporate two different movies. You do the Bill and Ted's with the Superman, like he's actually going to the Superman. Superman's changing in Bill and Ted's phone booth. You know? But yeah.
Okay, now we're getting a little off here.
Now we're getting
yeah.
Now we're getting crazy. But yeah, I've been really frustrated because I have a fantastic Christopher Reeve costume. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic, and yet I've got this really great head sculpt of Christopher Reeve, but it's too freaking big.
Well,
so, anyways, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I always have an issue with like how certain costumes are displayed where it, the costume kind of like it doesn't need the head. You know, like Indiana Jones never needs the head.
I know, I understand, and I've
Christopher
thought
Reeve,
about that. I thought
yeah,
about that because Gabe and I actually, that was the thing, because Gabe actually initially, I think, brought it up to me first about just the cape, just having the cape,
yeah,
and just having it with these black inserts that I have, just having him maybe from the back, just turned from the back where you see, but then you wouldn't see his the chest of Superman. But I haven't even opened it yet. The costume, it's a
No.
beautiful. And I got the boots and everything, So,
wow,
but anyway, I want you to know I did consider that, because there's no way I'm gonna have someone come in and look and think, oh, look at the head, looks weird. I don't want that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah. Well, especially Christopher Reeve because that he is Superman.
That,
I it's funny because I had this conversation with my son Harrison. Like, um, he's Superman, and it's not, and I really don't think it's how we grew up with him. But if you look back and you watch him as that character, he embodies everything. He embodies that kind of that person who's out of place, but then also the just that gentle giant of a person that really was wholesome and
Yeah.
that portrayed Superman. And
Yeah.
like I don't think they've ever captured that. And I love Henry Cavill and like kind of what they try to do with that, making it more of an alien movie. But Christopher Reeve really just yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I think
it's kind of like Michael J. Fox. He's that
Right.
character, that human being that you never heard anything negative about.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is, right? Is that
Yep.
not necessarily that Christopher Reeve is Superman,
Right.
but Christopher Reeves is Clark Kent. And that's
Yes.
huge because,
Yes.
I mean, Henry, like he looks like Superman. Like he looks like a really cool, what you would expect
But he's
Superman.
not Clark Kent.
But he's not believable as Clark Kent.
Right.
He's like too like handsome, too like there's no way someone's gonna think he's all nerdy and geeky. But like Christopher Reeves, you believed it. It's like he
Yeah.
looked like you'd be like a mild mannered, reporter.
Everyday person, kind of like just from Ohio or wherever, like Smallville is. It's like it's yeah, and like you said, like that's kind of like how Michael J. Fox is. Is like when they did the tests or they did the half the movie with Stoltz, it didn't play because he wasn't that person. He just didn't embody that out of like kind of like someone who's just like thrown into this mist of like having to deal with his parents back in the 1950s, and that's why I think part two, and like kind of getting back to what this whole thing's about, is like like the part two, like, and I know Michael, I know you're not a fan, but like the reason I really, because like you and I think are very close in age. I'm 50, and it's like the reason it resonates with me is that they were able to go back into that first movie and play off certain things that they took it, because like the ending of part one was a joke of like to be continued, which they never had on the original movie, but they ended up putting on the VHS. But then
I didn't know that.
oh yeah, it was at the end of the original movie until they released the VHS. It never said to be continued. It just ended. And then when they put the VHS out in like 87, I think, or 86, they started putting the to be continued on. And then because they were already in production for part two, or they had the contracts in place. So when part two came around, it was like the only movie that they've ever been able to go back into part one and recreate and play off certain things. And I think that was kind of like the cool thing. But I also know that you're more of a Blade Runner fan of like the dystopian kind of like rainy, gritty, futuristic things versus the happy-go-lucky part two, Back to the Future. And that's kind of like there's two different sides of people who look to the future. And I always like the goofiness of the part two.
Real quick, but since we were just talking about Superman, kind of a fun fact, kind of a goofy. I saw it because I've been following a lot of the reels of Superman since I've been doing this commission. But Did you guys know that in the original Christopher Reeve Superman, the little that played the little baby that comes out of the
Boy,
crash
yeah.
of the meteor? Did you guys know that he's in part 2 as well?
I think I did know that, but I'm not sure who he played.
Yeah, so he's the kid. Like, so we know the little naked kid that lifts up the truck.
Yeah.
Well, in part 2, there's a scene where he goes into the booth, and it's a photo booth. So he goes into this photo booth, and it takes pictures, and you can see like the different like changing like from Clark to Superman.
Right.
And so the little kid like pulls out the pictures out of the little deal, and he looks up, and Superman takes it from him and looks at it, and he that's when he sees his change, and he rips it and gives the kid the Superman picture, and then he flies.
Cool.
But that's the same kid. If you look at him, and I think he does cons, but I never knew it until I saw the Instagram. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's like the guy who played young Superman or young Christopher Reeve, who's the running by the train. You know.
Yeah.
And they put blue contacts in him, and
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to that guy.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Like, I mean, I would think that he would be doing con circuits, but
Yeah.
Hey guys, while you guys we could keep chatting. I remembered because we went to Universal Studios a couple weeks ago, and I recorded the cars. You know how like they have all the cars there.
Oh yeah.
We'll throw those in here while we
can talk about
nice Ferrari.
I mean, if you guys want to hear this guy talk, but so
No, I'll leave it just like that.
These are all the cars, right? And
THX, that's the
American
THX 138 from American Graffiti.
Yeah, that was never there before.
Yeah.
They obviously fixed these up.
Yeah.
Like a Magnum PI car.
Ferrari. God, that's got to be fiberglass.
There it is.
Yeah,
So
Biff's
I don't think it is. I don't think it is a fiberglass car.
Really?
No, it said real 308. Yeah.
Here's some of the Back to the Future ones, the Flintstones ones.
Yeah, Flintstones.
But yeah, they did, and that's why I remember filming it because I was like, oh, they changed it. Like they didn't have a lot of these. I mean,
they always had that. I think it's like a Pulsar. It was like that the white to blue one that was. I think it was based on a Taurus. Like the old shitty like 1990s Taurus. These are all the Transformers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what those were.
Yeah, and then it goes into Jurassic World and stuff.
Yeah. And again, that was new to me. I was just like, whoa.
Do they still have King Kong there?
Yeah.
No, but
it's the 3D one.
It's a 3D King Kong. So like now the whole
the one that you're thinking about burnt down back in the the 2000s, early 2000s.
But what they do have,
I remember.
Or Jaws, yeah.
Yeah, they still got Jaws.
I remember the first time I ever went there. I wanted to be in the film industry so bad.
Did they make the blood?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, all right. I thought that'd be too triggering for people.
Yeah, no, they still do it.
It used to be more like we're just like,
I was getting ready to say they must have been out of ink.
Well, the video didn't pick up. The video didn't pick up. It does look kind of more, a little more gory, like in real life.
Man, like
that's really cool how they do this with the sprayer like it's gasoline. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Michael, do you remember did you ever go there in the 70s when they had the Battlestar Galactica experience?
When I went, they still had Battlestar Galactica stuff. Like they had Cylons walking around, and
they had it up until like the 90s. It was like
I was going to say it was about 1988 or so when I went.
Yeah, they had it until like 92 or 93.
Yeah.
Look how cracked.
Yeah, they had the Miami Vice deal there.
Yeah. Now it's the Waterworld, I think. Still.
Yeah, Waterworld. Yeah. That almost.
Yeah, my kids have season passes to this, not Disneyland, because we did have season passes to Disneyland until they were like 4 or 5, and
Wait, I need to ask you guys something because Michael didn't know, and Brad, you might know. Okay, it's a little weird. So we are at the Disney ice cream place, like on Hollywood.
Yeah.
and I could have sworn I saw like an actor, but I couldn't place him. So I told my wife, I was like, film him because I can't place him and I can't really tell
Okay.
where he's from. All right, hold on. I need everyone in the chat to and it looks a little washed out because of the
That guy behind you?
yeah.
I'll say it.
Sorry.
Show me your dance move one more time.
Like he's like
I wouldn't say that I would know him from anything, but
he's like a background actor. You see him?
yeah, I mean,
I don't recognize him at all.
yeah.
He's just some dude who felt like he was being watched.
No, I'm telling you, man.
Oh, getting creeped out of here.
I'm telling you, he's in that new movie. I know he is. Like, I like saw him and I was like, I know he is. I just can't place
He
him.
looks like a Pixar animator. Like, yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, man.
So I didn't get to see the first the first part of the stream. So like, Michael, why don't you like part 2? If we're rehashing it, we don't have to go over it. But like, other than the aesthetics, like, is there anything else about the movie in general that you just
It
can't
just
handle?
I just don't like this the storyline on it. It just looks like something that was absolutely what it was, which was rushed. You know what I mean? It's a rushed out deal. I mean, they put money into it for sure, but it just doesn't seem like a good thought out. It's just, can I tell you what it is? It has a lot to do. And we talked about it earlier. We did, but I think it has a lot to do with just kind of like Star Wars nowadays. You know, the Ahsoka, and I know we got Nilda that she lives and breathes Ahsoka. But when you have all this new Star Wars stuff coming out, I mean, it's just something to watch, right? But it's just hard to beat Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's really hard to beat Star Wars, you know, and
although like Empire is your favorite, right?
You know, it's not. Star Wars is, but
okay.
But that's okay though, because I do
and I'm on board with that. I'm on board with you. Like Star Wars is my favorite.
And I think that Empire is hands down one of the best sequel movies ever. But when I just can't think of movies respectfully that, in my humble opinion, which doesn't mean much, you know, just there's not a whole lot of movies out there that can. Now, I will say Maverick was pretty good from Top Gun, but I don't know if that's because it's been so long. But Gabe wouldn't know. But I don't know how.
I haven't watched it.
But then you're also like saying something 30 years later. You know, like how
that's
how
right.
That's a tough play. But yeah, I get it, man. Yeah.
Remember, I talked about a long time ago on the show. I talked about. I know this is ridiculous sounding, but I legitimately wrote a script for a sequel to E.T. And I really feel personally with the movies that I like, you know, that it would have made a good sequel. But everybody knows, number one, Spielberg would never do it. But I still did it. And I think that now if that was to come out, I don't know if the story was really good, that it might, you know, be another feel-good movie comeback, you know, because it seems like the only people that are going to the movie theaters nowadays are this older generation, you know, and I think what's keeping the theaters alive, like Alamo Drafthouse and stuff, I don't know if you guys have those similar, is they're playing, you know, Jens invited me. We went during the midweek to see The Lost Boys, and I've seen it 100 times, and I was like, I was tired, you know, but it was my buddy got me a ticket. We were going to go hang out and see that movie, and when I got there, I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I knew what it was about, but just seeing it in the theater and The Lost Boys. And I actually, when I got home, I swear, my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I came home and it's streaming right now on Prime, you know. So I watched it there and I came home, but I got to really, you notice so much more on the big screen than you do on your normal big screen at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, what, and I understand like the, like, it's like, if you had just the best script for a ET Part 2, and I can actually already think like what I would want to see in that movie and how well it would play in my head to see, you know, Henry Thomas at, you know, 50 years old.
Yeah. Well, listen, so I pitched it to Henry And I pitched it to Dee Wallace, his mom in the film.
Yeah.
She liked it a lot, but the actors can like a script, and they could like it for 3 reasons. One, because they're being nice to me. 2, because they'll make money. Or 3, it's going to put them back on the map. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but this, and I'm not going to get into it deep, but this story, how do you start out doing an ET part 2? And I had this outside shot of the house, right? It's nighttime, it's out in the forest somewhere, and you go exterior, and then you go to interior down the hallway, kind of one of those spooky kind of things, and then into the bedroom, and you see a guy on the bed, and he's kind of tossing and turning, and all of a sudden he sits up, and it's Elliot. It's Henry Thomas, and he's like kind of breathing hard like a nightmare, and everybody knows in part 1 he had that feeling.
Right. He's being talked to.
Yeah, so he's feeling it because something's going on. So he gets up and he just says, E.T. You sees him get out of bed, and then you see him come outside. And he looks up into the stars. Remember, it's nighttime with the bright moon shining on him, and all of a sudden he says E.T. Boom, goes into coming soon to a theater near you. But the whole deal is the ET race. I'm not going to get into it, but the ET race, they're dying. And if you guys remember, these guys were traveling scientists, and they were picking, weed, all these little things and
plants from various plants or planets. Yeah.
So there's a certain plant on Earth. Why would he, after all the shit that he went through being here, ever even consider coming back? Well, if he's saving his race, and then you'd have to have maybe a couple more ETs. You'd have to have a Jar Jar Binks version ET, the original good one.
Then you get into the Gremlins 2 era.
Or you got to get no. Or it's like a Star Wars holiday special, the Wookiee family.
Okay, hey, I'm being real serious with I'm pitching my script for that.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
an ET mom and an ET grandpa. I mean,
okay, but seriously, so then there's future. All the kids that be watching now would be like, because I wanted it to be like the little funny ET. Like there's some, nothing excited me more was like adventure stuff like in Stand By Me or Goonies or mostly like ET. I loved them just being chased by the FBI on the bicycles. That shit was so cool.
Dude, that bicycle scene is probably the best BMX. You can take Rad, you can take anything else and Thrashing. I don't care. Dude.
But that's what I'm saying. You remember getting home but nowadays, the kids nowadays, they'd be like, "Oh, those are bicycles." Okay, and that's what
they went between the trash cans, and they went down the hills, and they went over
exactly. They pull the wheelies through the trash cans, exactly. And I love that. I mean, I remember sitting up. We had some badass trails where I lived behind where we'd ride our bikes. We had cool trails, and I know there's a lot of people in the chat that can relate to those times on their bikes where they're in a neighborhood that there was some backwoods area. And I know you guys are know what I'm talking about right now. But I remember we had these jumps, and we would set like little fires, and I'd jump through fire thinking I'm like a badass. And shit. I mean, seriously, I remember us jumping trash cans, and my buddy Tony Moore breaking his teeth out in the front and stuff. But but that was just the adventure in films. And like when Super 8 came out, J.J. Abrams kind of had it was almost there. But I understand what he had to do to keep people's attention through that movie. But that kind of
Stranger Things tapped into it.
Stranger Things did what it did because it brought back that nostalgia, and more, I think, of the adults liked it than the kids.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
my 8-year-old. We talked about this. We're on season 4 right now. So I
was talking to my brother last night, and it's like he's 2 years older than I am, and we were talking about movies in the 80s that really captured the 80s that were that people question was that really like that? And E.T., Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Breakfast Club.
Love it.
And Breakfast Club. Those 3 movies, when you look at them, it's no joke. That's actually how it was.
Yeah.
And maybe something like E.T. kind of spurred on certain things, but we were already riding BMX bikes out, just in general. And it just became a thing where you kind of it became where you were hoping that the FBI was going to come after you. So you could Well,
what's crazy too is that, so there's this whole, because you guys know, like I'm on social media a lot. There's this whole trend of like Gen X and like older, like middle, like older millennials, but they're like closer to Gen X, right? Like they're like in that
Right.
I think like
Gen X just sounds badass, doesn't it?
I know, but well, that's like,
And
that's
it
like
is.
that's like
Yeah.
me, right? So I was born in 81. So, and I guess the
Sorry.
cutoff for Gen X was 80. So then like I'm like technically like I'm on the millennial side, but then there's this weird 3-year gap right there. But anyways, what I'm saying is that there's this huge trend of kind of saying that our parents, Gen X parents, and then again, I think even spilling over to like the kids born in the 80s, right? There's this perception that our parents didn't care about us. They were just like, fucking go
Yeah.
on your bikes, do
Yeah.
whatever you want, like, and you're good as long as you're home
Yeah.
by a certain time. They're smoking right next to us at dinner time,
Giving
like
us beer.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
I remember my mom writing me a note
yeah, mine
to
my
go
dad-
get cigarettes for her at the convenience store, and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
all
Star
the
Wars cards. I was just
Yeah.
telling my buddy Lee about that because
Oh, yeah.
same thing. I mean, you could get a note. Yeah, and
It's
we
like,
could leave out late. You could walk far to school and not,
Michael,
yeah,
like,
actually, we were just talking about that with some parents, because obviously I have elementary school kids, and I was like, yeah, I walked to school, like that wasn't a
Yep.
problem, like walk there and walk back. Not a
like when
problem.
I was 7. I was 7, and
I was little,
like almost a mile. I'd walk.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd get
Actually,
home, and my mom wouldn't be home till late.
when I was a kid, I actually dreamed of creating my own snow speeder so I could go to school. It was like like a couple miles away, but like I had to walk to school and back. But I thought like when the snow speeder came out in 80, that was like that would be the best because it was compact. And I was like, I could take a buddy and like, yeah, how cool would it just to be able to take off from your house and like go to school and like and sit down and but I remember thinking that back in the day of like that was like the coolest like ship just go to school
For
in.
me, it was scooter bikes because
Oh,
of the
dude, yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Snow
God.
speeder is my favorite. I mean, like not necessarily in my models that in my gallery, but the snow speeder is probably my favorite ship. I love that ship. There's a lot of really good ones, but
I agree. Like it's one of my favorite too. Just I like the compactness of it, and like I guess just the era that it came out. It was just like really cool. Oh yeah. Oh hey, Joseph.
good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, ride your bike to get an icy, Steven.
For my neighborhood had slushies, like you the
Oh yeah.
the slushies with the little
It's the
puppy,
same thing.
little dogs.
Is that the
I know, but
the slushies was with the polar bear, right?
no, mine had a dog or something on it.
Oh the slushy hound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Joseph. Appreciate that, Joseph.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing is like this kind of like a bygone era is like the going into like a convenience store and seeing that wall of shitty toys that are on, they're just like the dollar toys.
Yeah.
They were like, the dart guns and the cap guns,
the little like
pops and and then going to the counter and you had the trays of like the Star Wars cards and the garbage pail kids and at the counter that you could like pick through and like grab a
I remember seeing all the yellow envelopes, right? It was like for me it was like Batman cards. It was the Star Wars, the horror ones. They had like the Freddy Krueger one. But you know what else? You know what me and my friends used to do? We used to go to the dollar store and buy ice cubes, but like the little plastic ones that you could just stick in, in the freezer. And then we would cut holes in the top, and then we would cut match heads and stick them in there, like just pack them in there. So then when you throw it down, it creates like this smoke bomb. And it was like,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They had dollar stores back then?
Yeah, there was one like little convenience store where they had like just everything was $1 or less. So yeah, it had to have been.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a serious thing going on right now with the nostalgia of the 80s. I mean, obviously we all love the 80s, but I mean, I am enjoying so much, buying all these old games, stuff that we're putting in here, the old 8-ball and just the football games and, just, all of the different toys. It's just been such a blast. Just And then I've got the BMX bikes at home, and I find my dirt bike I used to have, 83 YZ80. I want that for sure. But hey, it's so much fun. I think that's the funnest thing about our show is when we were talking about this in the 80s. When we get into that, Gabe, it's so much passion, especially for me.
Yeah.
But one thing that we haven't really discussed, and I don't want to get into it too much, but I want to get your thoughts and about the $4 million X-Wing.
Holy crap. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you, and look, I've talked to me and Joseph talked about this. I don't know that Gabe and I have talked about this, but there's just no matter what level you're on financially, because obviously if you can spend $4,000 and $500,000 on a, I'm being respectful when I say this, but I'm just saying if you look at, of course, my model that I have, it's maybe a $6,000 model, but the average Joe would not be able to tell the difference between the 4 million one and the 6,000. It's in his collection and it's badass. But I'm just wondering how he really.
Buyer. I think the spec buyer. I think somebody who bought that because they're just putting. And I think it's
so. I know. I don't mean to cut you off, Brett. I know who bought it, and I heard him talk about it afterwards. But I'm going to tell you guys, in my humble opinion, those of you that did see this, I think that there's a lot of Gabe and I did go over and talk about this, but with all these new, and even Brad was nice enough to do a walkthrough at that other auction. You remember, Brad? Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a hype going on, and I think there was so much hype with that X-Wing that when he purchased this thing, I think that there was some, and maybe I am way wrong, but I think there was a lot of buyer's remorse after that. I'm thinking, let me put it this way: I don't think there's. That he will have it. I don't think he'll be able to get the 4 million back. That's what I'm telling you.
Never. Because think about this. If you dumped $4 million into anything, I don't care if it's a house, a car, something that's it's one of a kind, you have to have thought either I'm going to keep this for the next 30 years and never sell it, or I'm going to be able to flip it in 2 years for twice the amount. And he'll never get, even if he had to put it up for 5 million, he's gonna have to pay fees and taxes and everything, and he'll never get that money out. Never.
That's exactly the point, because it really sold for 2.6,
right?
But after the I'm sure hammer fee,
it was almost 4. It was like 4 million
because of the fees.
After the fees,
Mm-hmm. So no one's gonna want to pay that, right? Like if you're gonna sell it in the private market, no one's going to want to pay those fees, right? But I mean, look, whatever. He's a millionaire.
Yeah, I mean,
he can afford it. But the thing is, it's like, man, Joseph.
But like, I mean, but if you're going to pay that, there's only a few reasons why you would. And it's like, if it's for your own collection that you don't care, like I said, that you're not going to sell it for 30 years, it doesn't mean anything, and you can afford it and you'll enjoy it. Like I have action figures that are worth $2,000 that I didn't pay that, and I don't care, and I will never sell it. But it's like it's another scale of it, and
for sure. And that's what Joseph and I talked about. Like if and when we talk about money, it's like that's like what's 100,000 to me is But I look at it makes me very thankful for the collection that I personally have with this 8-foot Star Destroyer and the medical frigate, and I know what I paid for those, and I know what they're valued at. And there's no way. I mean, like, it's just crazy,
It's a weird thing because, like, Michael, you're on a level where most people will look at your collection like you're looking at this other person who bought 4 million.
Yeah.
So it's funny because like you just see these different levels of it, and yours is much more of a. If you wanted to sell it, you could easily. Anything in your collection you could sell immediately and just liquefy, but then you have these people that just they don't. I mean, it's just because I live in LA, and there was a person who bought that. What was it? It was like initially a $1 billion house, but ended up selling for like 200 million. It was like called The One. It was like this one property that they leveled a mountain, and they built a house, and they thought they're going to sell it for $1 billion, and they never did. And it went, anyways. there's a level of even that where someone pays $200 million for a house that they will ever live in, because it's another level,
Yeah.
of just, it's hard to like think about that's like a thing, but yeah.
Yeah, and I know he was into Star Trek. He's into Batman. He's into all other things. But yeah, like you guys know, especially you, Brad. I mean, I live and breathe, models in general, not just studio scale models, but just the models. And I like to know that even though I'm not a know-it-all whatsoever, that I have quite a bit of knowledge though to show and educate so many people out there that aren't familiar with those things, and they're getting into them, and a lot of them that don't have the money are able to buy from people like NYC and still get that feeling. What's that?
No, and here's the other thing too. I think, and then this is kind of the sad part, right? Because a lot of the people that collect screen use props just kind of are really bad at displaying them. Right?
Yes.
Like, I've seen that horrible. So it's like a $3.1 million, X-wing that's probably just gonna sit on some random table or some, it's gonna.
How frustrating is that?
Right on a shoe versus Michael's, who's maybe you paid, $7,000
$10,000
but it's like beautiful on the pedestal, beautiful lighting, museum stuff. I would take that any day of the week.
Right?
So,
exactly. Yeah.
So I've yet to hear from him, but I want you guys to know that I did reach out to him to have him on the show, because, even though we were talking about it, he talked about it. I wouldn't even want to have him on the show, respectfully bring up what it cost. However, I want you guys to know that I did mention, and maybe that's why I didn't hear back from him. I don't want to think I was being a dick, but I told him that if you need, any,
display,
help with displaying, I don't know what your plan is on displaying it. I'd like to ask him, what is it going to be seen for anybody, or is this going to be in the private collection, and like, I want everybody to see what I've got, but I can't, unfortunately.
It's literally like, like buying a 1965, Cobra AC, and like, and it just sits in a garage somewhere. Like, I hope that person, I hope that he displays it somehow in his own house. But if you spend $4 million on that, at least spend $5,000 on a really nice display for it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't, but
maybe he is.
Yeah.
And who knows what his other displays look like? I'm curious. But there's also, a security thing. He's got to be mindful. But let's be real. This is the same guy. I never even. If I'm wrong, I think it's the same guy who said, if you bid on this, I'll kill your kids. And remember, Gabe, I sent that to you. And I think it's the same guy who bought it. No, I know he wasn't serious. Dude, look, I know he wasn't serious, but it's weird though how he said it. And then this guy's the same guy, and then he's holding the ship and the. It's like, dude, I would be like, I mean, it's like, I'd be like, don't drop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like, there's what's his name? The big dude who's got the beard, and he worked for the Disney, who owns like all the Indiana Jones, and he owns one of the original Idols and all that stuff. Like,
the one that has like that big weird basement where it's like,
he used to live here in the Valley, and I knew his address because like I met him once, and then he moved over to like Illinois or something like that. But I was like, like just showing that stuff. If I owned something that I paid $4 million with, I would be very reticent to like ever put that on social media, because people can find out where you live and like.
Well, for sure,
for
sure. And Roy Boss, he says sentimental value, not for sale. 1,000%, dude.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. Nothing I have, but I'm going to say something, and if we have him on, I'm just going to tell you because this is fun. If that was mine, I would display that thing, having at least maybe a 6x6, depending on the space. There's going to be about a 6x6 or an 8x8, even blown up shot of that ship in the film, the actual movie shot of it, and then have it displayed 3D in front of it, all encased in glass. I think that
was Red Leader, right? It was Red Leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he overpaid by
No.
$2 million, but
Brad, have you gone? So I just recently, because like I said, we were in LA a couple weeks ago, and we went to that museum. Which now, I mean, this is a perfect time, I guess. I was supposed to get off right now, but you know what?
you're having too much fun.
It's okay. So I went to this museum, or
Is
like
the Max Factor?
the exhibit. It's called. Here, I'm just gonna share my screen real quick. And the pieces were pretty fucking iconic.
Let's see.
So, Icons of Darkness. Did you guys hear about this?
no.
I think I have, but
let me go backwards on this. Okay.
yeah.
So, he has Stan Lee's
Stan Lee,
costume from Iron Man,
Hmm.
screen used Marvel stuff, right? Again, a lot of Marvel stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's all owned by one guy too.
One guy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
would from Leave It to Beaver. And then
Yeah.
he turned into like a producer / he's in the film industry. These are all screen use things.
I've seen that walkthrough a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Someone else did a walkthrough of it.
So he has the Rocketeer, the full costume, all screen used. Now,
That's
not,
cool that he's letting people see it.
Yeah, not all of it is screen used, obviously. Some
Right.
of it is not. But like this thing's screen
Yeah,
used.
screen used. Yeah, you can tell that.
A lot of the costumes.
Yeah,
a lot of
all that's screen used. I
Yeah.
remember saying that. Yeah.
Scissorhands. That's an original pair. The costume.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Oh yeah, the Benjamin Button.
Got thing.
Yeah.
Got some Back to the Future stuff.
cool.
Here. Oh, look at Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Wow.
The ant. That's his.
Oh, it's like Michael's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which yeah. I mean, which again, like that. Yours, Michael's, is like. I mean, it's so hard to get his likeness correct. You know, and like that's
And it's probably the same. It might be the same guy.
It looks very similar.
Yeah, it may be actually.
A lot of Matrix stuff. He has a lot of Jurassic Park stuff. So he went to Stan Winston's and he basically was buying everything from.
Oh, Miss Doubtfire.
Wow, that looks great.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. Oh, dude, look at that. The face.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Now, that's
demon.
one I couldn't have around the house.
Dude, that's badass.
He has a lot of Beetlejuice stuff. Obviously,
Dude, the demon. Yeah, the demon hound.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson. Oh, Howling. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to take video, but you're allowed to take pictures. I was like, I'm taking all the pictures.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that werewolf. The werewolf on the right.
That's on the right. Yeah. That's the old like
Lon
Universal. Yeah, Lon Chaney. Yeah.
Yeah, me and you, Brad, we got a lot in common. We like a lot of that stuff.
So
Dude, like any werewolf movie, I'm a big look. Werewolves are the ones that always just scared the shit out of me, but then I end up loving watching. So I watch every werewolf.
They're not screen.
Oh yeah, there's Lon Chaney. Yeah.
That I think the jacket. Let me see what it says.
From Thriller.
The recreation.
Yeah.
So like,
it's funny because you always think it's a werewolf, but it's actually a werecat. That's cool.
Yeah, the dinosaur. Oh, and then this. Right?
Oh wow!
So this is the touring. This is the touring costume. So I think this is the one that Tom Spina worked on, right? Because they were cleaning it up. So
that sold for like $250, if I remember correctly.
Look what he has.
Did you see what was next to it? That was the Don Post.
Oh shoot!
He's the one who bought this.
Oh, from the auction.
Yeah, from the auction, the one that you give us a tour.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh wow.
I got more of the Star Wars ones. I'll get close to the Star Wars ones. I took a lot of pictures. He has the Queen.
The Queen.
A lot of
which Bob Burns owns the other Queen, I think. He has the animatronic Queen.
Hey, Gabe, so you paid what, $20 to go in there or what?
Yeah, it was like I think it was like $20, and I took
so
my.
Gabe, is that right off of Hollywood Boulevard, or where's that?
It's actually right across the street from the ice cream shop and like the El Capitan.
Oh wait, go back. Is that the Creep Show heads?
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I thought those were.
I know. It kind of looked like. Let's see how long you can hold your breath.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
He does have Creep Show stuff. Hold on. Maybe. And again, all of this stuff is
Ooh, was that from Phantasm?
Phantasm, yeah.
Oh, boy, dude, that was a scary movie, dude.
It was
Hey,
scary
go
until you
back,
got to the
go back to The Shining.
yeah.
Okay,
That's actually pretty cool.
Red Rum.
Jack Torrance.
I don't remember.
Which I live in Torrance, so
I should have taken a picture of the plaque because it'll tell you like what on the mannequin was screened.
Yeah.
oh,
That's cool,
Planet of the Apes stuff. He had a
dude.
lot.
That ass.
Yeah, a lot of prosthetics from the.
So what's going to happen when you guys when the Lucas museum opens up?
Oh,
you
we
guys-
got to go. Yeah,
Well, I know Gabe. I'm sure you and I will be there.
Yeah.
Like, it's only like
That's
20
a
miles from me.
terrible. That's a terrible ET.
I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a replica. Hold on. Let me zoom in.
Yeah, the eyes are way too small.
Yeah.
Oh, it's created from the molds.
Molds. But look at the eyes. Like,
No.
Yeah, that was probably just like the rubber part of it.
Yeah.
Look at this.
oh, that's
Mark
actually nice.
Hamill's cast and his screen used lightsaber from Return of the Jedi.
Is it though? Like,
I mean, it looks like
it's
obviously
a resin. It's a
resin.
resin. Yeah.
and it looks like it could be. It could be a
Could
stunt
be a
one.
stunt. Yeah, stunt version.
Does it say who made the Luke? That looks kind of like a God Aiken head.
It probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a life cast, so maybe. they
Yeah.
used- But then, all right, he had the K2SO stand-in.
Oh, look at the Ewok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Ewok actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and some of these are like, obviously that's a Don Post. You could totally tell that's Don Post. 3PO.
Yeah, and that stormtrooper is either a
He's in a
Dom-
weird pose, though. I'm going to tell you right now. That's not
Yeah.
the pose isn't correct.
He's
No,
like,
I
hey,
mean,
boy.
there's only one way to pose. It isn't like it can be adjusted. That's what I understand.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's broke or something.
Terminator stuff. Harry Potter stuff.
What's that?
Harry Potter. Oh, that's from the Hunger Games.
No,
Hey,
Harry
didn't
Potter.
it have a Christopher Reeve? A good one too, right?
Yeah, that's at the beginning. I'll show you right now. So it did claim that it's Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper. Oh, replica. Okay, so that's a
Yeah,
replica.
I was gonna say that's way too clean.
Production made Darth Vader helmet.
Mm.
So I don't know which
Well,
one.
it says New Hope, but no, that ridge is not New Hope. That's
Yeah.
Empire.
Boba
That's
Fett
the-
costume.
That's Don Post.
Yeah, that Vader looks good.
Yeah, I mean the Vader is definitely the touring costume.
Yeah.
It specifically said it was
Yeah,
from Empire though specifically. Yeah,
that EFX Vader that you have, that helmet is one of my That's like the best.
Oh,
helmet.
that's cool looking.
the Army of
Oh,
Dark.
that's really cool. Yeah. Oh, Sleeve Stacks. Look at that. Oh, that's cool.
Is that Star Trek over there? No, wait, no. What is that on the left? Those are what's that
The
from?
Lost,
Those Sleeve Stacks.
Yeah.
The Sleeve Stacks from Land of the Lost.
Wow, that's badass.
That one on the far left's from the old one, the old 70s.
Yeah, Roy
Yeah.
Boss. ET
Yeah.
looked pissed off. Look
Oh,
at
these
that.
are part twos. Yeah.
He had a ton of gremlins. That's the one.
Man, that stuff's worth a lot of money.
Dude, I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that'd be fun. I definitely would walk in there.
the only problem is that it's guided. It's like a guided tour.
Oh,
So they-
really?
Yeah, so they don't like let you stay in a certain area for too long. Like they kind of move you along. So that was kind of a bummer. But a lot of
Were they
Batman-
busy? Were they pretty busy?
we got the last tour, so I don't know.
There you go.
Here's
Look at
the-
that.
but unfortunately,
See,
the light-
that's actually a good. That mannequin's horrible, but
yeah. Well, it's so this is Christopher Reeve's flying suit from Superman and Superman 2. So
so I mean, in that so like I know like Michael, you said you have a good costume like that. There's a specific weave that was created just for that suit. It's called a 4-way stretch spandex, but there was like a very specific weave for that. You know.
Mm.
Yeah, look at that. That's
And
cool.
that's
Look
me
at,
and
oh, look at that guy. Oh,
the actor in the background that I could have sworn. I'm like, being all creepy. I'm like, but anyways, yeah. I mean, it was. I think it's worth checking out, right? Just
Yeah.
yeah. You said like what, $20 or something like that?
I remember I think it was 20 something bucks, like 23, 25, something like that. But and yeah, they don't let you video, but like I said, you take pictures and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very, very cool.
But But yeah, but guys, I think we do have to cut it a little bit short because
Yeah, I still got to drive home.
yeah.
So
But cool. Well, hey Brad, thanks for jumping on.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Yeah. And so like if we ever do a Back to the Future event in the future, like let me know, and like I'll reach out to Jeffrey and like we can pull him on and he can talk about it. But
yeah, for sure, man.
we won't let him know that Michael doesn't like part 2.
No.
yeah, right.
Right. Well, cool. Well, all right, man.
Well, Brad, thanks for hopping on. Good to see you, man. Always good. And thanks for taking the time to dress up and show us your background.
It's hot, man. It's like
You're burning up and shit.
It's like latex and
Yeah. But cool, guys. Well, then
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Yeah, so everybody in the chat, thanks for your Saturday night. It's always a good time hanging out with you guys. Roy Boss, thanks for all your typing there, man. You've been really involved. Thank you for all that. And again, always a good time hanging out with you, Gabe, and everyone in the chat. And look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah. Happy Future Day.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, everybody have a good Sunday.
Bye, guys.
Love you, brother.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go